It's after midnight, and it's time for conversations about love, family, friends, sex, and life. It's Love and Life with Carol Riddick and Donavan West, only on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family, and welcome to yet another edition of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. Well, here we are. We are well into Women's Month, right? Is it Women's History Month? Let me say that correctly. Let me say that properly because I want to get that right. So here we are. We're in Women's History Month. We're in March. When I tell you 22 is here and it is moving quickly and it is waiting for no one, okay? But I also must add to that I'm just happy to be here. As my mother would say, I'm riding the wave. I'm fair to middling. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be along the journey. I like to check on you. I do. It is always my pleasure and my privilege to spend some time with you, and today is no different. I do pray that all is coming along well with and for you, and for those of you whose light is just a little dim. I want you to know that I'm praying for you too. You hear me? You are not alone. So let's get into some things. Tonight's episode is about sexual health. Yeah. I know there's some stigmas that we're going to address. There are some things that we kind of shy away from that we're going to talk about tonight. And I think it's a good idea that we do so, okay? Because we like to say that we're good and grown, but we kind of run from some things at some times when we should be good and grown in those moments. But I am not going to hold you. I'm going to bring into the room our guest tonight, who's going to share some interesting things with us about being good and grown and about addressing some of those stigmas. Her name is ALETHEA Taylor, and let me just bring her in the room so she can tell you some things. Family, help me welcome our guest tonight, ALETHEA Taylor. Hey there, lady.
Hey, how you doing?
Well,
How
not
are
bad.
you?
Ain't no need complaining. Listen, you don't need complaining. Although, family, I must admit, though, I was telling ALETHEA earlier in the day, but today was one of those days. So I was saying to her, I said, listen, when we do the show, I'm going to let everybody know, I'm going to let our family members know that it's only by the grace of God. Now, y'all know I know that it's every day, all day, that is by the grace of God. But I told her, especially and particularly when we are when we're on air, it is especially because of today, because of the day that I was having. But hey, I digress. Lee, welcome. And thank you for accommodating and obliging, first of all, because meeting with us in the midnight hour, it can be a little taxing on some of our guests. So thank you.
It is absolutely my pleasure to be here. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to come on here and have a conversation with you and support my sister, my Black sister. We're fresh off of Black History Month, going into Woman History Month, and I am so excited to be a part of this program with you tonight.
You know what? I couldn't have said it better myself. I could not have. I could not have. So, Lee, for our family members who are unfamiliar, would you please, give us a little of your background and tell us from where you come?
Absolutely, I'm happy to do that. I am an entrepreneur, I'm an actor, I'm an advocate for girls and women. I am a human potential coach, and I am just and an author, a new author, I may add. I have two new books that are out, so I'm excited to share everything with you guys. I share all of that because I tell people all the time, you're not just one thing. You're multiple things. And so I share all the things that I'm into and what I'm doing and what I'm trying to help people do because potential
Mm-hmm.
will get you there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what? That was a lot. That was a mouthful. Let me tell you, there's so many things to break down in what you said. I don't know when you sleep because that's a lot, Lee. That's a lot. First of all, let me just tell you that you are wearing that hat. Okay,
Thank
for
you.
our family members who cannot see, Lee is wearing
Thank you.
her hat. Okay,
Thank you so much.
so,
And yeah, I'm happy. And again, to add, I'm from Philadelphia, born and raised. I'm a Philly girl, so I'm excited to be, to represent Philadelphia. A woman that went through and the Philadelphia school district, graduated from Germantown High School.
mm,
Now I'm proud to say I have a bachelor's degree in business administration. I have a master's degree in education, and I do all of this and I share all of this so that I can inspire someone else, because it's not where you start, it's who you have in the village around you to push you to your potential and where you can go.
I love that. So, okay, what I want to make sure that our family members know, because Lee encompasses so many things. There's so many things that you do, and so many areas of specialty that that are you. But although our focus tonight is on sexual health, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your companies, about everything that you do, so that our family members are familiar with who Alethea Taylor is in totality before we get into some other things.
Absolutely. So I am the CEO of At Your Career Services, and
Mm-hmm.
that is a career development and talent management company. And there we provide career counseling as well as workforce management to small and large organizations. I'm also the CEO of ALETHEATAYLOR.com, and there we provide coaching services to help people reach their potential. I believe that potential exists in all of us, but just imagine having that right person, that
Mm-hmm.
that support, the right support system to get you to meet those and go for those dreams that you didn't think was possible. And so we provide all those services at ALETHEATAYLOR.com. But more importantly, I work with my passion and my purpose is to help develop women and
Mm-hmm.
girls and help them find their voice, their confidence, and their strength. And that is what I'm passionate about. And that's what I do through books, through mentoring programs, through services. That's something that I focus on.
So, oh my goodness. So your mentoring programs, are they through can they be accessed, or can we like acquire additional information about them at
At
AletheaTaylor.com?
ALETHEATAYLOR.com, absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely. I mentor girls from age 12 through 21. And then there's also services for young women and adult women that I also provide through AletheaTaylor.com.
well, first, I have two questions. Okay, number one, would you please, for our family members who are not watching, who are actually listening, would you spell that for them? And then would you tell us about some of the programs for the girls? Like what exactly do they entail?
Absolutely. So that is AletheaTaylor.com. So that's www.ALETHEATAYLOR.com.
Thank you.
Yeah. And some of the services we talk about not only developing, we talk about career development, but we also want to expose our young girls. We want to be examples for our young girls. For example, I was able to raise last year enough money through just participating in different walks throughout the country to raise money to take a group of 40 young women to New York City to expose them to different foods, different areas, take them to a new city they've never been to once a year. And so we do that. We provide um, services about, we want them to be able to speak up and speak out and speak boldly. So we try to develop that confidence in them, but they have to see it
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
mimic it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important. And we want to be that example. We want to share our lives. We want to, expose them to things that they might not have opportunity to be exposed to.
Sure, sure, sure. So you teach these young women, first of all, congratulations, because I
Thank
think
you.
that is awesome. I think that's amazing. And well, for our family members who might actually be wondering, Um, can we access information about that at ALETHEATaylor.com about that?
Absolutely. And I
Okay,
can you can
okay.
email me at info@alethea.taylor.com, and we'll look forward to chatting with anyone that reaches out to us about different services and programs that we provide.
Perfect. So, with regard to the programs that you provide for women and young women, are there any that specifically address? Now, how do I say this? Because I want to make sure, because since we're talking about
Absolutely.
showing our women, our young women, particularly how
Absolutely.
to be a woman and how to be a woman properly, I guess, for
Hmm.
lack of a better way, because I'm
Yeah.
having a hard time finding the right words to put to
Yeah.
say.
Absolutely.
But I want to know, with regard to programming, so do you teach them like about their bodies? Do you have
We have
health gear, like I
we
don't know
have
what's wrong with me today, family.
so we have
Let me say
we
this
have
is one of
yeah,
those
yeah,
days.
personal care programs, and we talk about in sessions, we talk about how to take care of your body, to eat right, why it's important to get enough sleep, enough
Mhm,
rest, but
mhm,
also how do you take care of your body personally? What about
mhm,
bathing? How do you take care of your skin?
mhm,
Things like that. Drinking plenty of water, because we want young women to know how to do all these things, not to try to figure it out, but to be there for them, to show them. Do you bathe? Do
mhm,
do you comb your hair? How do you shampoo your hair? I mean, we just go, and we just any and everything you can think about taking care of your physical body, we talk about, because it's
mhm.
important for women to hear it first and not out on the streets.
Absolutely. So you teach maintenance, self-care. That I
Absolutely.
mean, and it's so important. Family, if you have just tuned in, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. And we're talking with Alethea Taylor. Alethea is here. When I tell you, there's so many adjectives I could use to describe Alethea and the services she provides. But she is here tonight as an advocate for women of all ages. And I
Absolutely.
know our topic and our focus tonight is about sexual health, but don't fret, because she also has something for that too. But I want you to know who she is in totality. So I'm asking questions about the different companies that Alethea has. Lee, I keep saying Alethea, and I've never called you Alethea except for now. So Lee, how about that, Lee?
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Absolutely.
But let me ask you, because since you have the two companies, did you work together with it? How is it that you have two companies? Because I know, number one, it's such a huge responsibility when you're talking about um trying to teach
Hmm.
our women. It's a huge undertaking, I should say. It's a
Absolutely.
huge undertaking. So to have two companies, how do you manage doing all of that?
It's the grace and mercy of God.
Oh,
And I
that.
tell you, when you're walking in your purpose, it works out somehow. And
Hmm.
I absolutely love what I do. And um, and I know that God's called me to focus on and give and impact the lives of females. And so I love doing that. I have 21-year-old nieces, and they're twins. And I just want to, I started doing all this. They encouraged me to be a better person, to be a better woman, to want to do more, to want to give more. And I want to get, it's all about giving back. I mentor young women, and I say, listen, I give to you and you pay it forward.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
Because when women start to support one another, to speak over each other, speak to one another, there's nothing that we can't do.
I
And so
agree
that's
with that.
important for me. And so somehow I get it done, and I get it done with so much love and passion. And it just fills my heart to see that, to pour into someone.
You know, the funny thing is, after I asked you the question, I could hear women from my own family saying, "What do you mean? I'm a woman. That's how I do it. That's how I do." But
That's what we do.
that's what we do. That is exactly what we do. And that's how we do it, always by the grace of God. But that's how
Always
we
by the
do it.
grace of
That's how
God.
we do it. But
Absolutely.
so when was it that you felt compelled to start helping women? Like how long have you been doing this?
So it's interesting. My mother always said as a young child, I just always wanted to help people and
Mm-hmm.
help people. And so I just had this, it was just something that's in me, God given. And
Mm-hmm.
it's something that you can't explain. And I try to, as much as I professionally, I was working in human resources for over 30 years, but I wasn't being fulfilled.
Oh wow.
I just wasn't being fulfilled. And I walked out on faith. And I tell people, you have a purpose and a calling. Just walk out on faith. And I out on faith and I never looked back.
I know that's right.
And it also, I have some great women in my life. My mother's spoken to me from a young child, and she made me believe there's nothing I could not do.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to do the same for so many others that may not have been, blessed or fortunate enough to have a mother like I had or a village that I have. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And so there was nothing, I just grew up knowing that I can do and be anything. So I was blessed to have my queen in my life that always prayed for me, spoke over me,
Mm-hmm.
guided me, and supported me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the least I can do for someone else because
Sure.
God has been so good to me.
When I tell you I can relate to everything you just said, everything you just said, I overstand. I overstand. So please tell me about your books. I know that you've written two books. Is that correct? Please
Absolutely.
tell me about your tell our family members about your books.
Absolutely. So writing is is a passion of mine. I would just write and write, but would never bring anything to the forefront. And so in February 2020, I wrote my first book, Truth Be Told: A Journey to Fulfilling Relationships. And my and I did this to prove to my nieces that they too can do this.
Mm.
One of my nieces came and said that her sister wanted to be a writer, but she had writer's block. And I said, so do I. And she said, and they looked at me like, you? Really, you? And I said, oops, wait a minute. They see me as something different. And I
Mm-hmm.
have to prove them I'm cut from the same cloth. I've gone through the same things. I have the same family background. And so I started writing and pulled one book that I had written many years ago and did nothing with but set in a folder. And I started writing to prove to my niece and be an example that you too can write. So this book
Mm-hmm.
came, Truth Be Told, A Journey to Fulfilling Relationships. And it's all because I want women to live fulfilling relationships, put themselves first.
Mm. So what
And
let me ask you this. I'm sorry to have interjected. So truth be told is about living a life of fulfilling relationships. Is that with regard to familial relationships? Is that with regard to self love? Or is that with regard to romantic relationships, or all of the above?
all the above, because there's something in there for everyone. I talk about, I wrote a letter to singleness because I want women to understand singleness is not something bad. So
Mm-hmm.
much could come out of singleness. I am a single woman,
Mm-hmm.
and this great book came out as single. I had time to sit down and write my book. And so I don't want people to feel like it's a bad thing to be single. There's something in this book that talks about being the other woman. So it's a compilation of characters that all women, female characters, and they share their stories, they share their relationship truths, mistakes, regrets, and it's exciting. It's really exciting.
So really it's a work of therapy, if you will. It's
Absolutely.
oh my god. So listen, I tell you what, because I want to hear more about this opinion or this outlook from the other woman, because I didn't know that was in there. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
Absolutely.
Family, if you have just tuned in, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD. Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. And we've been talking with Alethea Taylor, who is joining us tonight. She was just filling us in on one of her books. And she just gave us a little tidbit of information that I want to revisit when we come back from our commercial break. So please stay with us because we'll be right back.
Word on Jobs.
A new year is here, and if you're searching for new career goals or a new job that fits your skill set, visit wordworks.com to view jobs and program opportunities, including Community Relations Coordinator for WHYY, Disability Services Director for NBME, and Policy Director for Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia. Visit WordWorks at word.com and find the career opportunity that's right for you. Brought to you by Pico and Livelihood at Word Radio.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Black Americans have died of COVID-19 at over 2 times the rate of white counterparts. This is due to systemic racism and healthcare disparities. Here are some tips for protecting yourself. Wear a mask covering your mouth and nose. Avoid crowds. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use alcohol-based sanitizers. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Practice social distancing and follow World Health Organization guidelines. Quarantine if you've been exposed to the virus. Self-isolate if you're experiencing symptoms. Seek medical attention if you experience difficulty breathing, a fever, cough, sudden confusion, or pressure in your chest. If you don't have health insurance or a healthcare provider, try contacting your state health department, community health clinics, or local hospitals for testing and treatment. Together, we can stay informed and empowered. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
When I cross the finish line, it's not just me. I succeed because of others. When I was pregnant, I survived because of others. At 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Because my doctor took quick action and my husband was there to help me, I'm alive. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
For the Indianapolis Colts. Becoming a running back was no easy task for me, but it's nothing compared to what my amazing mom faces every day. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14 years old, yet she's always there for me, every step of the way, despite her own battles. And the Muscular Dystrophy Association is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Their research is helping find cures and save lives. Watching my mom go through her daily struggles and the care she receives from MDA has made me determined to help find a cure for neuromuscular disease. That is why I support MDA, and that's why I'm so grateful to others who do too. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka The Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food, marinated in the Black experience, seared with history, embrace, and culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food, History, and Culture every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. beginning January 2nd, 2022, exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Independent Black Media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. I want to say hello to our family members on our socials. We know that you are there. I hate that we can't communicate with you in real time, but know that we know that you are there and we appreciate you for being there. I want to remind you, though, that you can communicate with us, and you can do so by emailing us at loveandlife@wurdradio.com. That's loveandlife@wordradio.com. We love, love, love the emails that you've been sending us. But you know that because we tell you so when we respond. But in any event, we are joined tonight by none other than Alethea Taylor, who shared with us before the break one of her books. And she said this book talks about, or should I say, it addresses living a life of fulfilled relationships. Now, for those of you family members who missed what she said it talks about relationships of all kinds, of all sorts, even from the viewpoint of the other woman. I said, wait now, wait, what, what, who, what? So please, please, please do continue explaining. Lee, please tell our family members what viewpoint is the other woman sharing.
So it's interesting because so many people think as the other woman as someone that's bad, and someone I hear women call, other women stupid and dumb, but they're just regular women as well that somehow make a conscious decision to enter into a relationship with a married man, somehow find themselves in a relationship and struggling how to get out of it. And so in this particular the chapter in this book, this woman is really telling her truth about how she made a decision to enter into a relationship with this man, and the things that he provided her, everything that she couldn't find in a single man, he offered her. And while he also found a lot of things that he was missing in his relationship, he found with this woman, but also helped to enhance his relationship with his wife. So there's a lot of twists and turns, and she explains from her perspective what happened. It's a letter to the wife. Dear wife.
Oh my God. Okay, so wait a minute. Please, please, please tell our family members once again the title of the book and where they can find it.
Absolutely. The title of the book is Truth Be Told, A Journey to Fulfilling Relationships. You can find it on my website at www.aletheataylor.com. And you can also find it on amazon.com. And it's a wonderful book. It's getting great reviews. But in this, I'm challenging women to take a hard, cold, truthful look at their role in their relationships, whether bad or good, and take accountability for it. Because I want them to ultimately live a fulfilling relationship. So many women live in relationships and they share with me unfulfilled relationships. They're sitting sad. They don't know how to communicate what they want. And I want women to learn, speak up, speak out, speak boldly, because you deserve to live in a fulfilling relationship. You deserve to have your needs met. And do not settle. Do not settle. You're only cheating yourself. And so this book encourages women to take the journey.
So the stories is the book comprised of stories? Is it?
It is comprised of stories. And it started because I'm divorced. And I've been single now for, I would say, probably about 7 years, but it's a choice. I did stick my feet out there in the water for a little bit, and I found, oh my gosh, what's going on? And so I started asking friends, family members, people in my neighborhood, what do you wish you would have done differently in your relationship? And women just poured out and poured out. And I said, this is the book that I have to pull out of that folder and I have to write about. And women, and while it's focused and its purpose is for women and they've been blessed by it, so many men have also been blessed by the book, and it challenges them to look at their role and how um, what role they've played in relationships and how they maybe treated women in the relationships. So it's been a blessing for both male and female.
So it can actually be a tool. Um,
Absolutely.
nice, nice. Do you use your own book as a tool for some of the workshops that you have?
Absolutely. And so when I travel around the country, we really dive into some of the chapters.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, women were they're just pouring out, and they're saying how they're blessed and how, they realize their role in some of the relationships, and they've really been blessed by the book. And
Mm,
so it's been a blessing that so many are blessed by the book and changing and finding the courage to to make change. One chapter in the book is about it's okay to leave, and it's about a woman that sat in a relationship for almost 30 years and then decided, I'm leaving for
mm.
me, for my life.
I'm still stuck on the letter from the other woman to the wife. Wh- and you said this is a real story. This is someone's actual story. What did she apologize to the wife?
So here's what's interesting. The stories are the stories of my mind,
Okay.
and I just unlocked all these topics and these situations.
Okay.
Um, it gets deep. Um, and I think probably the best compliment I got was that um, this woman said, "You put on paper with what artists do on canvas, and you
Oh,
changed my life. You changed my life. You opened my eyes, and you gave me courage to have um, conversations with people in my life."
mm,
And so I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to touch someone to want more, to
mm-hmm.
desire more. But again, if you have women encouraging you and supporting you, it makes the difference in your life.
So it's an inspirational body of work.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. I mean, and I must say that I do find that we're in need of inspiration. Today I know that we're living in COVID compromised times, but not only that, there's so much, as you know, so much going on in the world right now, and I'll tell anyone within earshot that I believe we're all grappling with something. We're all dealing with something, and I believe that if we would share more of our stories, that we might actually be able to help one another to heal. Yeah, I know you and I had a conversation about this. We were talking about it, and we could go on and on,
Yeah.
and on about, but I do love that. I do appreciate that you've taken several different scenarios and you've put them together, and you've compiled this book of different scenarios from different viewpoints. So
Absolutely.
that because I've not seen anything. I've not seen anything like it, so now I feel compelled. I've got to make sure, family, I'm going to read this book because I do love to read. So I'm going to read, and I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. But for our family members who have just joined us, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM, and we are talking with none other than Alethea Taylor. She has expressed how it's become her mission to help women of all ages. And I thought it was so important to have her here as we're celebrating Women's History Month. Who better and what better than to have an advocate for us, and I know I did not forget that our focus tonight is on sexual health, but she has something for that too, okay? Because she did tell us that she wrote two books, two books, okay? So the first deals with relationships and it addresses, well, let me ask you this because I'm about to say something and I'm not really sure about it. So I know that it addresses living a life of fulfilled relationships, but do you give pointers, suggestions, advice, or um, how do you wrap up some of those scenarios that might be seen as unfavorable, like with regard to the other woman, like that?
Absolutely. At the end of the book, it is all about suggestions as to how you can, make those changes. But it starts with just being honest with yourself and being truthful with yourself. So I take women through a whole chapter of how you can do that, and changing your mindset and looking at things differently and believing that you deserve more.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what demographic would you say that book, Truth Be Told, is geared toward? Like what age group, I'll say, better yet, what age group?
Absolutely, 18 and above.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
It sounds some real adult situations in
Oh,
some
it's
of that.
real adult situation, and it starts very early in the first chapter. I go there because there's no need to candy coat. People are dealing with some real situations,
Mm-hmm,
and they're feeling like they're alone and they're the only ones
mm-hmm,
going through. But again, when women are able to share, we
mm-hmm,
find that we have more in common. We have more common experiences, and we can help one another.
mm-hmm,
We
mm-hmm.
would just get away from being ashamed of saying and speaking our experiences and what we're going through and what we've experienced, and just wrapping our arms around one another. And I talk about that, having a village,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
having
That's
those people
important.
in your life that you can talk to and you can be honest with, you can cry with, you know.
From where do you think that fear comes?
That is so interesting. And it starts when you're young.
S-
It starts when you're young.
So you think it's learned behavior
I do
more
think it's
so?
learned. I do think there are a number of reasons why people, and again, that's why people will always say, you're always saying, speak up, speak out, speak boldly, because I want women to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm,
We sit back, we sit quiet, no more for that. No,
mm-hmm.
we must be seen, we must be heard. Life comes through us.
Yeah, I
We're not,
love that. How
do
about
not, do not, I don't want women to shrink. I want them to be seen and to be heard. We offer so much to this world.
mm. It sounds like we need a support group. That's what
Absolutely. Ab-
seriously. And there
Absolutely.
may be some that exist, but you may even have one. Do you have a support
I
group?
do have
See
one.
that? See that? See that? You see where I was going there? See that? You
I
see
do
that?
have one. And yeah, and we do, yeah, we meet every other month. We have these real honest and raw conversations.
Okay.
There I'll be holding the first annual picnic, sis let's talk.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and that's coming up in June. And it's a picnic. We come together, we're going to have fun, and we're going to talk. And I mean, really talk about things.
Well, let me ask you this: will it just be for women, or is it for everybody?
So the first picnic is for women right now, but I do have smaller talks that's related to the second book where
Yes.
men are absolutely invited to join us.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I love that. I love. So right now, are you conducting like virtual events or is
Right.
okay.
So now we do virtual events, but we're looking now that everything is opening up. We're hoping that we can hold some of our events outside and have those
Mhm.
conversations, those talks and things like that, and gather together rather than having to speak to one another,
Yeah,
via
I know. I know.
apology.
I think we're all getting tired of our laptops and our tablets and what
Yeah,
have you. I know. I know. We need some of that energy, that good energy. Some
absolutely.
hugs and some love. Family, you're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. I just want to say thank you for joining us in the midnight hour. I know how taxing it is. I know the kind of day you probably had because I had one of those days too. but we're here together. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. Alethea Taylor has another book that she's going to share with us in just a moment. We're going to take another commercial break, though. And when we come back, she's going to tell us what that's all about. So stay with us.
What's up, y'all? It's Janae Latrice
and Kayla J. Be sure to tune in Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. for
Crosswords, sharing conversations across generations, right here on WURD.
Progressive Black Talk Media.
We'll see you there.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
We're often influenced by what we see or hear on social media. Beware of disinformation campaigns targeting Black communities by using cultural issues to incite divisions, spread false information, and negatively influence public opinions. We're in this together, and together we can stay informed and empowered. Learn more at nbcit.org. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is in everything. Even when you think things can never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
Hey, still shopping for the new year? Or did you receive a gift card for the holidays? Either way, Word Radio's got you covered. Visit wordradio.com and shop at the Word Virtual Marketplace. You can support local, small, Black-owned businesses through the marketplace and shop today. Visit wordradio.com/marketplace or wordworks.com/marketplace.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
there, family. Welcome back. You're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. For our family members on our socials, hey there. Hey there. Thank you for joining us as well. We know you're there. We know you're there. And we appreciate you for being there and hanging out with us in the midnight hour. Um, for our family members who would like to reach out to us and send us, a hello or some love or whatever it is. You can send us, comments, questions, even suggestions for topics to discuss. And you can do so by emailing us at loveandlife at WURDradio.com. That's right. That's love and life at WURD radio, which is wordradio.com. We are joined tonight, this morning, however you want to call it, by none other than ALETHEA TAYLOR. She has been talking with us about all of her endeavors as she advocates for women and young girls. She is making every effort to make sure that we are educated, make sure that we are um, that we know that we know. I mean, that's with regard to education, but I was trying to say that differently. But education is it at its core, because as you said earlier, you stated it's about potential and knowing your potential and knowing that you have potential and having that village to help you along your journey, and I happen to agree with that. I happen to agree wholeheartedly about having a village. I know I had a village growing up, and I have a village as a grown woman, for which I am eternally grateful. I must say, I call my friends my good cookie girlfriends. That's what I call them, my good cookie girlfriends. And they know who they are. They know. But I wanted to transition and well, I should say ping pong, because we talk about everything. We go back
Yeah,
and forth. But you wrote another book,
I did.
and let me tell you, family, when I saw the book, I said, wait, what now? Wait a minute. But I think it's so important. I think it's so important that we do have the discussion. So as we begin the discussion about sexual health, and we start talking about some other things. Please tell us about your book. Tell us the title. Tell us the topic. Tell us from where the idea came to write it.
Absolutely. And so the title of the book is Let's Talk Pussy. Lives Depend on It. And if you can get past the word, you'll get at the heart of why I wrote this book.
Yeah, that's a hard part for me.
And so I want people to get past the word. The word is not the problem. The attitude and mindset surrounding it are. Saving countless lives should take precedence over our aversion to a word. And so every hour, every minute, every second, a girl or a woman is raped, abused, sexually trafficked, or even killed, not for a cookie, not for her vagina, but for her pussy. And we need to have this conversation. And until you hold a young girl or a young woman in your arms who's crying, who's been used and sold, you can't fully understand the need to have that conversation. And sometimes God calls you to do something that no one else will understand. And that's what I feel. I was called to write this book, and I stand up for it. I stand up and I speak up about this book, that every female should have this book or conversations to start about why we need to educate our girls. And you asked something earlier about, learned behavior and things like that. So often I hear little girls or women referring to their body part as a cookie. And I think, is that when we're learned to not call a thing? And it's okay. We do have a vagina, but we also have something more powerful that people will try to kill you for, will try to rape you, abuse you for. And this is the start of that conversation and that education that we need for our young girls and our women.
What prompted you to write this book?
I just felt like young women were not getting what they needed, which is the truth. And they were encountering things that maybe, if they've had that conversation, if someone had that conversation with them, they could have possibly avoided some of the things that happened to them, because that stays with you, and it just carries on with you. Not only, that damage stays with you. And so having and being informed, I feel like we place so much more emphasis and importance on teaching a child how to drive than we are to teaching them how to navigate the waters as a female and some of the things that they may encounter simply because of what they have. And it was important for it to be told, and it was equally important, if not more important, for the book to be titled as it is. It's not about shock value. It's about saving lives and educating. And as a young girl, my mother sat down with me, and it's in the book, and I won't give it all away because I want someone to really read the story. My mother, I have another sister, and she sat us down and said, yes, you have a vagina, and I want you to call it a vagina, but here's what you also have. But my father also had a conversation with us, and while it was not the same, and he never used the word, he gave us information from a male perspective. And what we should demand and respect and look out for.
Oh, wow.
As females. And so I shared that in the book. And some of the topics in here is just talking about, your own, pleasure, how to take care of yourself. So many women, I say your body does not get aroused to satisfy someone else, but to satisfy you. Let's talk about consent. What does consent mean? What does that look like? No means no. And again, it goes back to speaking up, speaking out, and speaking boldly, and helping people to find that confidence and that strength to do so. I talk about you're more than your body. There are so many women right now altering their bodies, thinking that it will enhance or keep someone loving them or keep someone in a relationship. We're more than our bodies. So I talk about all those things in there. I talk about breaking generational curse, how a young woman, she, looking at and mimicking what she sees, and then, and just mimicking that behavior, and then find herself at 15 years old with a baby, and now saying that she must break this curse so that her daughter does not go through the same thing.
Oh my goodness. So this is, that's a lot. That's a lot to unpack. There's a lot. I mean, 3 questions just popped into my head immediately from all of that. But the first of which is that you said that you address, you want this book to be the conversation starter so that you can address some of the things that have happened or that are happening to our young women.
Absolutely.
When we come back from commercial break, please tell us about some of those things to which you're referring, things that you're talking about that are happening to our young women. Family, we're going to take a short commercial break. But when we come back at the top of the next hour, we're going to dig in to Alethea's next book, her second book, the second release, which has so much in it. Just stay with us, though, because we'll be right back. I promise.
Stand with WURD Radio, Pennsylvania's only black-owned talk radio station. Join the movement to keep the conversations going and amplify the voice of the black community. Show your support. Start or renew your 4WURD membership today at WURDradio.com or call 215-425-7875.
A lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player for the Indianapolis Colts. Becoming a running back was no easy task for me, but it's nothing compared to what my amazing mom faces every day. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14 years old, yet she's always there for me, every step of the way, despite her own battles. And the Muscular Dystrophy Association is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Their research is helping find cures and save lives. Watching my mom go through her daily struggles and the care she receives from MDA has made me determined to help find a cure for neuromuscular disease. That is why I support MDA, and that's why I'm so grateful to others who do too. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Philadelphia. Black Talk Media.
Thank you. I can't hear you, Carol. I can't hear you.
she's an advocate for women. She's an advocate.
I can't hear you.
It's a compilation of stories that she's put together, of different scenarios, of different experiences. Um, I tell you, when she said, it really, it, I don't know, it resonated with me when she said that she has a story about, or well, I should say, from the viewpoint of the other woman. She said it was a letter from the other woman to the wife. Now, I don't know about you, but that alone made me want to read the entire book. Okay. So I will tell you, like I said in the last hour, I intend to do so. And when I do so, I'm going to fill you all in, because then we're going to talk about that too. But we're going to focus in this hour on sexual health. And before we went to commercial break, Alethea shared with us the title of her other book. Now, it's a title that I find myself not being able to say, but she said that's exactly why she wrote the book, because there's a stigma associated um, with one of the words in the title of the name of the book. She said, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, and let's talk about it unapologetically. And you know, that's what we do here on Love and Life. We talk, we speak unapologetically, but we speak with transparency, and we speak honestly. And for that reason, I think it's important that we do discuss it. I think it's so very important because, like you said, Alethea, there's a stigma around the one word itself.
Mhm.
And for that, you were saying that it wasn't for shock value that you titled the book,
Yeah.
as you did. So I'm curious to know, how did you come up with the title, or what was the reason for you choosing that title specifically?
Absolutely. So, one of the young women that I mentor, I remember having a conversation with her. And the first time she was crying and upset about a relationship. And I always pride myself on being very honest, upfront, and transparent with those that I mentor or I speak with. And when I finished the first conversation with her, I thought that all was good. To find myself sometime soon thereafter waking to a phone call early morning with a woman, just young woman crying, the same young one crying hysterically. And I thought something had happened to her, something was wrong, but she was upset because she found herself in the same situation with a young man who treated her the same way, that used her for nothing more than her body. And she was just hysterical. And I thought to myself, did I fail her? I just had the conversation with her and I thought that I told her everything that she needed to know. But then I realized, as much as I prided myself on telling her, did I really have the pussy conversation with her? As my mother had with me. And it was my obligation to have that conversation with her. And so the book came about because of the encounter with this young woman. And so we need to have raw conversations and real conversations. And that's why I wrote the book.
So when you say that, what does that mean? What's the difference between the conversation that you had with her and that conversation?
I was candy coating, and we so often candy coat and leave so much to the imagination, or so much for others to go and find from others that don't know either. And so if you've lived long enough, you owe it to another woman or girl to give them that information. And I write in the book, and it's a chapter called No One Told Me. And I think this may sum it up. And I say that no one told me how to behave as a young woman. No one told me that my personality should lead. No one told me to respect my body. No one told me that being a virgin was cool. No one told me I was in control of my body. No one told me how to recognize the changes in my body. No one told me that my menstrual cycle was a time preserved for my body to naturally undergo its shedding process. No one told me that it was okay to say no. No one told me that I would be wanted only for my pussy. No one told me I was beautiful. No one told me how to value myself. No one told me. Now I'm 16 years old with a daughter of my own. The cycle must stop. And we're obligated to share. We're obligated to tell the truth. And it's not about a word, but about giving information. And so
I appreciate that. I really do. One thing you did say that I want to go back to, you said that your father had a conversation with you and your sibling.
Absolutely. And I thank God for that, because I can remember being young. I think I was maybe early teens, and it was a young man, much younger than me. And we were playing kickball, and I'll never forget it. And he said, I bet you can't kick the ball. And I said, well, if I kick the ball, you're going to owe me a box of Jolly Joes. And he said to me, and if I win, you're going to have to show me your pussy. And I said, you nasty thing. And I remember my girlfriend staying there didn't see the big deal. And the young guys, they start laughing and giggling with him. And I said, thank God my father had a conversation with me, because he said, young little boys are going to do this and try to do this to you, but you need to be prepared. And he prepared me, but never used the word. My mother did, because that was her position. She did. But my father didn't, and the message still rang just as strong, and I'll never forget it.
So how did he position it? What did he say? How did you know that he was referring to the same thing?
Because my father said that that people will come after me for my body. And I understood that, because my mother had the more specific conversation.
Okay.
And that you must demand respect, that you're more than your body, that you're loved. It wasn't a day that went by that my father and my mother, they would always tell us that they loved us, because we felt love.
Sure.
And so it was very important. That conversation was so important to me, and I never forget it. And I was prepared for that. And so, and where my friends were not, those conversations did not happen in their household.
Why do you think we shy away from that? Why do you think because there's so many households that don't have those conversations? Why do you think that is?
And I think, again, just being uncomfortable with that. Why are we so uncomfortable? And it's interesting, because even as women, we may be uncomfortable having the conversation, but we're not uncomfortable sharing our bodies. Our most precious gift, our bodies. We're uncomfortable to communicate our needs, our wants, our desires, but we're not uncomfortable to have sex with someone.
That's a great point. You made a statement. You said that you felt the book was necessary because you felt it was necessary to address some of the things that had happened to women, or to some of our women. Some of the things like what?
Being molested at a young age, being raped, being abused, being used, simply because they are females. And so Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. And I talk about that in the book. There's a chapter about chasers and hunters and molesters, how some people will just chase for the hunt, just chase um, you because you have a pussy. People who hunt for it and and people who will molest you, people in your own backyard, people in your community, in your neighborhood, people in leadership positions, and how to identify those individuals.
So let me make sure I understand because I think I'm challenged with understanding. Is the vagina different? Is that what you're stating? The vagina is different.
And I talk about that because I said the vagina definitely is um, the vessel to bring people into the world. But your pussy can be the incubator of disease that can harm you and can fester in your body. And so I do make the distinction between the two. I don't want to give away too much because I want people to read it and read it for themselves. But I do make the distinction between the two.
Huh. Well, I'm having a little difficulty in this moment understanding the difference between the two. Help me just a little, if you will. Um, so what is the difference between the two? If
So, and it's interesting because, while they share, it is the same organ, people are not killing you or chasing you for what we would call your vagina. It's just the power of
it's the stigma associated. It's the
absolutely just the word itself.
Okay. Now I'm with you. I wanted to make sure I understood clearly because I was thinking literally. I was thinking with regard to the literal sense and thinking, okay, well, they're one and the same. But I get exactly what you're saying now. So what you're saying is that, one is from where life comes, and the other,
Absolutely.
because of what has been attached to its purpose and
Mm-hmm.
some of its uses, if you will.
Right.
There's so much so much negativity surrounding it, so much negativity associated with it. And
Absolutely.
so let me ask you this because someone asked me the other day about my opinion. Someone asked me my opinion with regard to our young women and how the images that we see nowadays of women of color particularly.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I think that's an interesting topic, if you will, with
Okay.
regard to having a vagina and,
Mm-hmm.
if you will,
Mm-hmm.
how influential do you feel it is, or has become? I will say, um, because you talk about there being power.
Mm-hmm.
In what ways, I should say, because there's something. There's this, how influential is it? How much power is there?
So, when I make this distinction, I say, it's the vessel. I say vagina is the vessel to that brings life into the world.
Mhm.
But your pussy has this immeasurable pleasure that people will chase and kill you for it.
Okay.
And so I just, I want people to understand that difference and that people will pay money to go and just to paradise, and they'll do the same for the pleasure that your body can provide. And you need to prepare, you need to know that.
Mm.
And we must educate about that.
So how do you educate? Like, I mean, you know what? I'm funny because I guess it would be. Is it? Let me ask that. That's the
Okay.
better question. Is it easier to educate a young woman than it is to educate a more mature woman?
And I guess it depends on their experience because would be surprised how many, I would say, older women,
Mm.
because of their experiences, because we're the sum of our experiences, also still have some of those hesitations that a young person would have. And I would say communicating.
Hesitations in what regard? What do you mean?
In regards to saying no, even saying no. No is not a dirty word. And it's okay to say no, particularly as it relates to your body. If you don't want to do something, the word is no. And helping them have that confidence. As a young girl, no. We're teaching them no. But also as a grown woman, it's okay to say no. It's your body. And helping them understand that and helping them find their voice to do that and to say that and how to communicate that.
That's it. It's so interesting to me because you're absolutely right. It's so easy. I mean, that was taught to me at a very, very young age. But I was fortunate in that I was surrounded by a lot of women. My mother was one of 6 girls and 2 boys. So I was surrounded by a lot of women who all spoke the same language.
Okay.
They said it the same way. But the women in my family were very, they spoke with conviction, and I found that very, 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 well, I was terrified when I was younger, but as I matured, it was so helpful because I did pay attention and I did retain. I retained and maintained, what was instilled in me. So I get from where you're coming when you're talking about, informing our girls, educating them. But are you having any difficulty, like getting them to want to listen or to and I'm asking this because, the other question I had a moment ago was about the images that we see. So it's become glamorized. It's become popular to look a certain way or to be a certain way or to do certain things. So how eager are they to speak with you and listen and actually participate in the workshops?
And that is so interesting because it's been such a positive response that it's like we can speak freely. We can say this word to you. We can really talk about it. And the questions that they have when they feel like they can really talk about it. And it's a safe place and they can say that. And that another woman is sharing with them what they've been through, what their experiences are. And we talk. And, to create that environment for someone to just talk raw and honestly about their bodies and what's going on and ask questions. I always want to be able to create an environment where all young women feel comfortable to speak about whatever they want to speak about and not be judged. Because I'm here to help you along the way to not make the same mistakes that I made. And so it's been a great experience just talking about it. Oh, the conversations have been phenomenal. And I have mothers saying, I attended one of your sessions and I bought one of your books and I immediately went home and had a conversation with my daughter.
See, that's magical. And in today's day and age, I would consider that magical. Of course, family, I don't have any children, but I don't have any biological children because they're all our babies. They are all our babies. Let me say this because I've gotten so caught up in the conversation we're having, Lee. Family, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. And we're going to take just a short commercial break, but stay with us because we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka The Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and brazen culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food History and Culture, every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
What do an aerospace engineer, cancer immunologist, and bat scientist all have in common? We all have cool jobs in STEM fields. Whether it's building robots or learning to code, girls everywhere are finding their passion for science, technology, engineering, and math through positive role models and mentors. So dare to dive in, get connected, and explore. You never know what your future may hold. Learn more about these and even more cool jobs at shecanstem.com.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is in everything. Even when you think things could never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
Black Americans have died of COVID-19 at over 2 times the rate of white counterparts. This is due to systemic racism and healthcare disparities. Here are some tips for protecting yourself. Wear a mask covering your mouth and nose. Avoid crowds. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use alcohol-based sanitizers. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Practice social distancing and follow World Health Organization guidelines. Quarantine if you've been exposed to the virus. Self-isolate if you're experiencing symptoms. Seek medical attention if you experience difficulty breathing, a fever, cough, sudden confusion, or pressure in your chest. If you don't have health insurance or a healthcare provider, try contacting your state health department, community health clinics, or local hospitals for testing and treatment. Together, we can stay informed and empowered. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
When I cross the finish line, it's not just me. I succeed because of others. When I was pregnant, I survived because of others. At 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Because my doctor took quick action and my husband was there to help me, I'm alive. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back. You're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. Family members, thank you for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Especially those of you who are on our socials and are communicating with us because we know you're there. I want to remind you that you can email us at loveandlife@wurdradio.com. That's love and life at wordradio.com. We've been talking with our guest tonight, this morning, whichever you prefer, Alethea Taylor, and she's been sharing with us all kinds of knowledge and imparting some pearls. She's been telling us how much of an advocate she is for young girls and women. And she also shared with us that she has two books to prove it. Okay. She's got workshops, she's got two companies, organizations, I should say, that are helping her to carry out the work that she's doing. And she's fulfilling the missions that she has set for herself. These goals, when I tell you, heavens to Murgatroyd. But I want you to know. So her first book is titled Truth Be Told. And her second book is if you've been listening, for those of you who've not been listening, let me tell you, I have difficulty saying the title of the second book, but the second it's titled Let's Talk PUSSY, right? So okay,
Yes,
did you hear me
absolutely.
whisper it? You hear me whisper it? Did you hear me, family?
I
Did you
did hear you. It's okay. It's
And I'm
okay.
good and grown, okay? I know I'm good and grown. I'm good and grown. But in
Right.
any event,
Yeah.
so the first book is dealing with living a life of fulfilled relationships. The
Absolutely.
second book talks it I want to say that it addresses more so. Would you say?
Yes,
It it
absolutely.
ad- it addresses life. It addresses the stigma around, the other word and other words to which our vaginas are
Mhm.
referred. And
Absolutely.
am I right in saying that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I want to
Absolutely.
make sure that I'm telling our family with clarity because we all like clarity. But
Absolutely.
I do want our family members who are listening to know where they can find your books. Would you please give us all of your information again, your
Absolutely.
socials, your websites, both companies, all of that, all of that. I want them to know. If
Absolutely. I can be contacted at ALETHEATaylor.com, and that's www.ALETHEATaylor.com. Also at yourcareerservices.com. And I am on Instagram at alethea.taylor1.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, family, you have every way of contacting Alethea and finding her books. Now, you said, are both books on Amazon as well?
Yeah, I'm sorry. They can you can purchase the books on my website and also on Amazon.com.
Okay, perfect. See that? See that? So, I want to get back into talking
Okay.
about the second book.
Sure.
Okay, because,
Sure.
you know, I know. Well, here's one question I have because
Okay.
I have so many. There's so many things
Yep.
that are going through my head right now. But what is it that you'd like the takeaway to be from the second book? What would you like our takeaway to be?
I want women to, and I always sign off saying this with everything, I want you to respect, protect, and care for yourself, for your body, and for your pussy. I
Mm,
really do. And that's the takeaway from this. And it all starts about how you view yourself.
you talk about potential and you talk about how we view our yeah. Well, let me
Absolutely.
ask you because I do want to, and I'm not sure if I asked this, so forgive me if I did already, because you were saying you said that in the title when I was talking with you about the title. So
Mhm.
why not call it the power of the vagina, or let's talk vagina, or why the choice of that specific word?
Because I just want to break the stigma, because while we do have a vagina, it's also referred to as something else.
Mm-hmm.
Why we do have a vagina, we feel more comfortable with saying vagina.
Mm-hmm.
Secretly, when we're texting our partners, or or when we're having those talks, we're not saying, "Hey, I can't wait for you to come get this vagina."
Right.
Oh, heck, we're not saying those things. We're feeling real comfortable when we're trying to arouse our partners, but we want to be so confined, otherwise. And so while our young people are out in the streets saying that, referring to that, talking about it, singing about it, we're cowering in the corner saying, oh no, let's just call it this and it'll be okay. We won't tell them and have the conversation about the other word that it's referred to, that people seek them out for, that people will grab them and sell them for and ship them around the world, and that's the things that I want to talk about. You know what I mean? Sex trafficking. Our young girls, are sold and shipped all around the world. What are we doing about it? Are we talking about it? Are we raising awareness about this?
And it's interesting to me that you just mentioned that trafficking, because I don't have the statistics on it. So family, I do not have that. Do you? Would you happen to have
Not the
statistics?
recent ones, and I
Okay.
apologize.
And no, because I was thinking it's such it's something that we don't really talk about, but it's going on. It's happening everywhere. It is happening, and my understanding is that it is happening at an alarming rate.
Absolutely.
And
Right.
go ahead. I'm sorry. I
Right
cut
in
you.
our own communities. And that's the sad thing. People think that it's abroad. It's happening in your backyard, on your streets, in your neighborhood. It's happening. And we have to shine a light on it. And in this part of this book is about shining a light on that, educating females that yes, it could be your teacher, it could be your neighbor, and so helping them to recognize those signs, recognize those individuals. But again, giving them the strength, the encouragement, and confidence to speak up and speak out and speak boldly.
Let me ask you this, because I love the emphasis on educating our young women, and also our more mature women as well. How important do you feel it is to educate our males too?
Absolutely, because men have something to bring to the conversation. They have a responsibility to also give their perspective and educate females and women. And so that when we have what I call our pussy conversations, they are invited to the conversation. When I wrote this book, I talked to some of my closest friends, and it's interesting because he shared with me, he was so happy that I was writing and someone was going to write this book because it should be written, it should be told, it should be talked about. He said, and so I had some of everyone in the conversation. I wanted to hear what they had to say. I had men apologizing when they read the book, saying, you know what? Thank you. I see my role now. And I saw what I did back then. It was not right. How I neglected to even talk to my daughters because I was afraid to have the conversation. I didn't know I could have the conversation. Did I have the permission to have the conversation? It's your obligation to have the conversation. And as my father did, he did not use the word, but you can have the conversation.
That's interesting. You said there were men that said to you that they did not know they had permission to have the conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, you are obligated to have the conversation. Yeah.
At what age do you feel is the appropriate age for us to talk with or to begin having those conversations with our babies?
And that's interesting. I just think that early on, we need to not call, while someone may not be mature enough to use the P word, they're certainly mature enough, even at a young age, to say, I have a vagina. Let's stop calling something a cookie. Because when I think of a cookie, I think of something that should be shared. If someone asks me for a cookie, may I have a cookie? May I have some of your cookie? Oh, sure, you can.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want them growing up thinking that it's a cookie. It's not a cookie, you know? And
It's to be treasured. It is.
yeah, let's call a thing a thing.
Mm-hmm. Let's call
So
it
that when they need to identify it, we specifically know what they're talking about. Oh, someone took my cookie. Someone touched my cookie. Oh, did they take your Oreo? Did they take your chocolate chip? And you're thinking, oh, it's just a cookie. No, they touched my vagina. Mm-hmm. Let's call it what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that we can learn from an early age that we have the permission to speak up and speak out and speak boldly.
So are we dealing with more and I think I already know the answer to this next question, but I'm going to ask you because you deal in this area. Are we dealing with more, well, I'm going to say use what you said earlier, things that have happened? Are we dealing with more things that have happened to our girls, our women, than we are to boys? Or is it across the board now? Because I know there's so much going on. I know, we talked briefly about trafficking and all. Are we challenged more with what's happening with our girls than we are with our boys or overall?
I don't know that we're challenged more, but it's definitely happening with men as well. But, my focus has always been on the women, but I have, females, but I have been invited to other conversations, and I sat down with men to have the conversation, and even hearing them open up about some of the things that happened to them and not feeling comfortable enough to tell someone what happened to them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And having to carry that.
Do you guys offer counseling and therapy as well with your organization?
We will refer out to some very, that we feel, some other agencies that could provide those specific services.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
World. How often do you conduct the workshops? I know you mentioned earlier about one. Is it? I think you said was it once a month or once every other? How about let me stop trying? Let me ask. Let me be quiet so you can answer the question. How about
so
that?
we have the pussy conversation once every other month. And we're having our picnic coming up in June. And then we'll be moving to each month and having sessions at various locations throughout the city, throughout Delaware Valley, where you can come out and have conversations. We do have conversations for a younger group of people, and they're held mostly on Saturdays, early morning. So that's,
When you say a younger group, what age group?
12 and younger.
Preteens and preteen and as well. Okay.
Absolutely. And so we look forward to having those conversations, because not all parents feel comfortable or equipped to have the conversation. Some will stay and participate.
I was going to ask, are the parents, because that's important. I was going to ask if there are parents that actually participate, or if they can even. So they are welcome to stay.
Absolutely. And I find that when the parents sit in on it and we start having conversations, the children are looking like, so we can talk about this. And so then that opens up dialogue with the parents and their children, because now kids feel like, oh, we can talk about this. And I think that's important, because when I was growing up, I certainly could talk to my parents about anything. And I'm glad that they created that environment. But I want the same for others as well. And if they can't talk to their parents, someone to identify someone they can talk to.
You provide a village. Like
absolutely.
You provide that village that we had.
Absolutely.
I am really, really, really stuck on the information that you shared about your father, that he had the conversation with you. I want to go back to that, but family, we're going to take a short commercial break. Stay with us, because we will be right back.
Word on Jobs.
A new year is here, and if you're searching for new career goals or a new job that fits your skill set, visit wordworks.com to view jobs and program opportunities, including Community Relations Coordinator for WHYY, Disability Services Director for NBME, and Policy Director for Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia. Visit wordworks@word.com and find the career opportunity that's right for you. Brought to you by Pico and Livelihood at Word Radio.
What do an aerospace engineer, cancer immunologist, and bat scientist all have in common? We all have cool jobs in STEM fields. Whether it's building robots or learning to code, girls everywhere are finding their passion for science, technology, engineering, and math through positive role models and mentors. So dare to dive in, get connected, and explore. You never know what your future may hold. Learn more about these and even more cool jobs at shecanstem.com.
We're often influenced by what we see or hear on social media. Beware of disinformation campaigns targeting Black communities by using cultural issues to incite divisions, spread false information, and negatively influence public opinions. We're in this together, and together we can stay informed and empowered. Learn more at nbcit.org. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is in everything. Even when you think things will never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
Hey family, I'm Carol Riddick.
And I'm Donavan S. And we're the hosts of Love and Life, a new show about,
well, love and life.
This show is an informative, entertaining, and refreshing take on the hard conversations about love and life.
Each day, we'll provide real facts and honest opinions on dating, sexual health, casual, and committed relationships.
These late night conversations will be served on a judgment-free platter and seasoned with unapologetic realness.
So join us Sunday night through Thursday night at midnight on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Well, hello there, family, and welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. We've been talking tonight, this morning, with Alethea Taylor, and she has been sharing all kinds of information with us. Do you hear me? We've been talking about we've been talking about sex. We've been talking about love. We've been talking about the absence of love. We've been talking about vaginas. We've been talking about some other things. Okay.
Yeah.
We've been talking about sex trafficking. We've been talking about our babies and just trying to save them and
Yeah.
provide them or equip them
Absolutely.
with the proper tools and information to help them as they move forward and as they go on, along in this world. One thing I keep coming back to is the fact that you said your father had a conversation was it with you and your sister? Was it?
Absolutely. Yeah. For both of us.
I cannot believe. I think that is so commendable. I think that's awesome. I think that's wonderful. And it's a huge blessing for you and your sister that both your parents, because I don't want it to be lost on anyone that both of your
Yeah.
parents spoke with the two of you. And
Yeah.
that's important. It's so
Absolutely.
important, when you talk about family values, when you talk about, as you say, we were talking about behavior being learned. And when you have both of your parents talking with you about sensitive issues and talking with you about your body and about how you should carry yourself and care for yourself and love yourself, and how you should represent yourself. And, when I tell you, I think that's a beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful gift that you and your sister have in your parents and that they shared in the way that they did. And I see how you are because of them. I see that you are the way that you are because of them. It's a
Absolutely.
beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Really,
Thank you so much.
really, really. I commend you for the workshops that you are conducting, for our babies. I keep saying our
Mhm.
babies. Listen, I know
Mhm.
y'all. I know I don't have any biological kids, but your kids are my kids, okay? So
Absolutely.
our babies,
Absolutely.
because I love all the babies. So I commend you. I really do. I know I
Mm.
say it,
Thank
jokingly,
you.
but I'm looking at. I love to see the positive in
Yeah.
everything, and I recognize it all. But I love to cater to the positive. So I commend you on the workshops. I commend you on your efforts. Um, and I thank you. I definitely thank you. I'm curious to know that what's next? What's next for you?
Oh wow, I have the picnic, of course, the
Hmm.
picnic that's coming up in June. Very excited about that. Very excited for women to come together, support one another, share their stories, uplift, encourage, pray for one another, pray over each other, pour into each other. I'm just so very excited about that. I want to encourage women to start having the hard conversations, the uncomfortable conversations. Um, and we can only help one another when we do that. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to in-person conversations so that we can really dive into the books and talk
Hmm.
more. We laugh, we cry, we become angry, but
Hmm.
ultimately we move forward.
Hmm.
And it's not staying in the past, but changing what you can do for your future.
Where will you host the picnic? I neglected to ask that. Where will the picnic
We're
take place?
working on two locations, but it'll be in a park in
Okay.
Philadelphia.
Okay. Okay.
And I will have information. Certainly, people can reach out for information, but I should have that posted on my website at ALETHEATAYLOR.com very soon. So we're trying to just lock down that particular location.
Sure, sure,
And
sure.
we should have that very soon.
So everyone should, the family, she's instructing us to stay tuned and to make sure we check the website, right, for additional
Absolutely.
information and details.
Absolutely.
That's ALETHEATAYLOR.com. That's ALETHEATAYLOR.com. Correct.
Absolutely. And they feel free to give us a call as well. I can be reached at 215-261-6088.
Could you repeat that for us one more time?
That's 215-261-6088. We look forward to hearing from you
I love it.
and
I love
join
it.
us.
I
Yeah,
tell you, this topic is so sensitive. It's
it
such
is.
a sensitive topic because it means so much. And when you're talking about spanning generations because there are
Absolutely.
women of every demographic, every age group, every background that could benefit from conversations about self-care, self-love, maintenance, about our bodies.
Oh,
There's so much that we just don't know. There's so much that we don't share
absolutely.
that should be shared. So I applaud you for
Thank you.
starting that hard conversation and opening that door. Again,
Yeah, yeah.
this is what we need to come on. This is 2022, and
Yeah.
we are moving quickly into 2023.
Absolutely. We have to have these conversations. I also, if you go to my website, there are videos, related videos for each book, and it'll give you even a little more insight. They're on YouTube, they're on my website. You certainly can get, some more information about the books on the website, but the videos are very powerful to help understand the need for each book.
I am so glad you shared that. Did you hear that, family? There are videos on the website. We're going to go to the website because we can find everything on the website. We'll be
Absolutely.
updated. We'll be updated about the picnic, the cookout, because we love a good cookout. So we'll be updated on the picnic. We'll be updated
Absolutely.
on the workshops
Yeah.
and the events and everything else that you're hosting. And especially the videos that
Absolutely.
I'm definitely going to check out. And we can also purchase the books from the website as well. Is that correct?
You can certainly purchase the books as well as purchase the books on Amazon.com.
Nice.
Yeah.
See that,
Yeah.
family?
They're not just for women. So please purchase a book, have the conversation. I just want us to get real because it's about saving lives, impacting lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they're a conversation piece, life changing. And so please pick up the book, have the conversation, join the conversation with us.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get pressured enough, I may invite men to the picnic because I get calls about that too. I heard you're having a picnic. I want to have the conversation too. I want to join in. I have something to offer.
I think that's awesome though. I mean, especially because you had the greatest role model, your dad.
Oh,
It would
absolutely.
be great to invite men to the conversation. Why not? We all need to talk
We need to talk.
We don't communicate effectively.
No.
Or adult properly. So
Absolutely.
why not? Family, I hate telling you this, but that wraps up, oh my goodness, tonight's episode of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. I want to extend the utmost gratitude to you. Okay, family, for spending some time with us. I love your company and your attention is always welcome and appreciated. Thank you so much to the entire WURD family and my utmost gratitude to you, Lee, to Alethea Taylor for
Lee to
joining
you.
us.
Lee to you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. But family, what I want to say to you is from me and my alternating co-host, Donavan West, have a great night, have a great morning, and have a great rest of your day. But remember, we are all in this together. So be good to you. How about that? You start with you. Be good to you, but be good to those around you. And make sure you join us again at midnight for another edition of Love and Life on WURD. Be well. God loves you, and so do I.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka the Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food, marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and brazen culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food, History, and Culture every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Oh, hey, Julia. You ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's going to play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.